That they just, I mean, it leaves you questioning, what are they thinking? But I'll leave that to you to decide, and possibly your attorney.
And so I don't know what they have, and I think this is coming up later tonight, but obviously they have unfilled slots, but they had enough there for a quorum, even though some terms have expired and they didn't have all members there, but they had a quorum, right?
Oh, yes, I mean, as you know, members, even though their terms expire, are holding that position until they are either reappointed or replaced.
All right.
And full disclosure, I applied for a position when
Okay. Thank you.
Do you want us to read it in, or do you want me to read it in?
No, just, I don't think necessarily, just so you have it for your records.
Thank you very much.
I think you understand what I was trying to summarize in what my feelings are on it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other public comments from anybody? All right, not hearing any, we'll move on to town clerk tax collector. Deeding delinquent tax parcels notification of 2012 liens. I did apologize.
I think I gave you a list of
It's item number 3 on
Got it.
properties that, what are you reading there? Which one is that? We have a couple of topics here, so I'll
Yeah, this
just,
is
oh,
good.
those are the deeding, potential deeding ones.
Right.
Mr. Cheney can come off and there he has paid
Oh, good.
at least that year.
That's good news.
That's very good
He's
news.
not completely caught up, but he's off the list. Okay.
Oh, here's an update one, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, that's some minutes, some milkshakes that I had.
Okay.
So this is the list of potential properties that are eligible to be deeded this year. I expect that some of them will be paid prior to that, and I expect that 3 of them will not be. Those are the second one and the 2 at the bottom. So the Bellin Way and the Volkman and Whittier properties. Those were the 3 that were eligible last year, and you granted waivers on the deeding. And I guess I would like to I would recommend that we not waive these properties. The 2 at the bottom are landlocked properties. One is 2 acres, one is 1/4 of an acre. They don't really have access. Mr. Whittier has been missing or deceased for almost 10 years. His lawyer has been deceased. I don't even have an address for him. I just keep paying to send certified notices to him, which I know will come back because I don't have a complete address. The other one is a landlocked property. It's just 1/4 of an acre off of Carter Notch Road. Part of it's in the river. And those people, I believe, are the ones who have expressed to me they have no interest in the property, take it.
Both.
Yeah. I've sent them notices, they come back, they've read them, they've received them, they're not interested. You can see the tax on that's only $100. The one on Whittier is $67. I mean, they're small wetlands kinds of properties, they're landlocked. Not really a whole lot you can do with, these people can do with the properties.
And the clear message that's been sent to you is they've decided to walk away from the properties.
Yeah.
And the third one?
The second Bellin Way, there is a tax card that John has. The property has been abandoned, and I've had people express to me concern that live in the area that it's a dangerous location. At one point, Jason mentioned that there are holes. It's potential that it is filled with water. There may or may not be electricity on, so if kids get in there, it could be a potential hazard.
Andy, is this one of yours on your agenda?
Well,
I don't think it made the agenda, but we certainly can talk about it. I've been by it.
What's your assessment of?
There currently nobody living there. There are some significant safety concerns. I think the fire inspectors looked at this also. There's electrical wiring on the outside of the house. You know, I think that probably it would make sense to have, you know, at least send the current owners a note and the power company, have them take a look at disconnecting power there. This place looks like it's in pretty poor repair. Certainly without a whole lot of work, it couldn't be habitable.
Yeah.
Is this what you've been able to observe from the road, or have you been on the property?
Yeah, no, that's what I can see from the road.
So you haven't been on the property?
No, I pulled in and took a look at, you know, but it really is something that needs to have, before somebody gets hurt in there, I mean, it looks like there's junk all over the place.
So from the road to you, this looks like a safety issue, a public safety issue.
Yeah. The rear of the building, and I believe Jason mentions that also in his assessment, the rear of the building is entirely collapsed.
We did a road drive-by today, because you can't go on the property without certain procedures. What we saw from the road anyway, we can go behind the building, of course, but as far as being imminent safety hazard, me and Jody didn't see anything that was an immediate hazard to draw any immediate decisions or to do anything immediate. The oil tank was outside the building, so pretty good chance that's not in the basement. You can see it right in the picture, as a matter of fact, if you look close enough.
Yeah.
You can see the oil tank.
Yeah.
Power was, the meter was still there. We looked at it, you know, the roof, nothing from the front of the two sides that we saw, nothing was caving in, but, so I don't know.
Is there a chance of power on it, or?
You know, who said that the basement was full of water, or was it full of water, or possibly full of water?
Well, is it,
I think
Is there a roof?
I think your tax card says that the basement's full of water.
Being of the age of that house, who knows, whether, you know, there's a pretty good chance the electrical panel is in the
yeah,
basement.
water in basement, roof leaks, foundation is stone, you can see daylight in some areas.
So anyway, our initial assessment, it wasn't an immediate safety concern, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But he was supposed to write up a official thing. I guess I could, from my side of it, you know, a letter stating, let's see if we can get the power shut off, would be the only issue we would have. I mean, it's not falling, I mean, it's definitely not a brand new house, but it's not, nothing we saw from the road or from the driveway, nothing that's caving in.
Are you looking for us to contact the owner, or engage in a conversation about it? I mean, it's
As I
you're
understand it,
find out if the owner wants to walk away. Susan, is this your name?
no.
No. Oh, okay.
As I understand it, in order to enter the property, we need to notify them, give them 30 days notice. And if we want to turn off the power, or ask for the power to be turned off, we need to notify them of that before we do that.
And you don't have current contact information for Whittier. Do you have current contact information for Bella?
Yes.
Is that your recommendation? We try and contact them? And,
I think we should.
We talked about this in a meeting on Wednesday. And I went through this immersion training, of which I'm not sure how much I know. But the one thing we do when we take the property, we have all environmental issues, old and new. So the inspection to me is very important, to just find out what in the world is in there.
so that really is the next step.
The next step really needs to be some kind of inspection, Jay, or...
I guess my first question is, whose responsibility is it? Is it a building inspector's responsibility, a fire inspector's, or a health inspector? Because I know when this subject came up at the other property where this barn caved in, it was
health inspector was brought up, I know that name was brought up, because we have another one that every year somebody complains about.
Mhm.
It's definitely a safety, catering in issue. So who's,
I don't know, Andy, would it be appropriate for you to just take the first look and then say, I think this is a fire hazard, I think this is a health hazard, and then we call the appropriate?
Well, I think maybe if we make it, I guess it might be a good idea if we're notifying the owners and giving their 30-day notice, it might be a good idea to make it a joint effort, so that we can look at, building and fire things at the same time, and just make one visit. To me, that would make sense.
And
Certainly, if this were occupied, I would suggest that the health officer be involved.
so you're going to use their contact information
Yeah.
and start the 30-day clock?
Put together a letter based on the direction we got yesterday.
because Goody had mentioned that he had talked to Diane way back when, remember we were saying on the computer, you got that, he had a certain number for it, remember?
155B.
Was that it?
Yeah, I think I said, I gave the copy of that.
Because Goody said today when we looked at it, that is the process you have to do for
That-
for what's
that
going on
five-page
there. You have to take that
document
150,
that you-
start at the
Yeah.
beginning and go
It's
through it.
B9.
Okay,
There's no exceptions, that's how you gotta do
so
it.
we know what we need to do.
Yeah.
And if that letter goes out this week, we may have had a response by our next meeting, or may not. Yeah. But at least we'll have something that's been dated that starts the process. Oh, that's what this whole thing is about. 155B,
Yes.
Yeah,
2?
I've got the whole
B1?
B-series here.
Well,
Okay.
they've got the 5-page one.
All right, well,
And on the other two properties, I think, I would recommend that we take the properties, the adjoining properties in the Carter Notch area may be interested in buying it. It wouldn't take much to purchase the land. I mean, there's not much back taxes or whatever to do on it that would make it cost prohibitive.
on the bottom two?
On the, let me see which one I'm talking about. It's the Whittier one.
Okay,
It's
all
a
right.
quarter of an acre
Mhm.
off of Carter Notch. And the other property is on Thornhill Road, adjacent to the town property, probably below where the Thornhill Inn is.
Okay. The Volkman?
Again, that's 2
Okay.
acres, but it's landlocked.
Uh-huh. And so you are recommending that we begin the deeding process on those two delinquent properties?
I have to do some research and notifications, and assuming that nobody pays on these, I would recommend that we deed certainly these two, and, pen decision on the Bellin Way, after the inspection.
And so are you looking for us to go ahead and make that motion tonight on those two properties, or do you want to?
Well, this list really react on individually each property.
Right.
So I would, we've only talked about a couple of them. The first one, I anticipate that individual will redeem the property. It's a nice home, it's got a value.
This has been every year, right? This
Yeah,
happens.
well, yeah. So I expect that one will come, but I don't know that there's a reason why we would not take this property if it came to that.
I assume they're being charged late fees and all
Yeah.
that.
The series of properties are all Boston Corporation, I believe Dana Place. He comes in on the last day and generally pays everything off.
The
So I
minimum
anticipate-
amount of,
I anticipate
the
that
year.
will happen, yeah.
mhm.
Again, But if they don't, you know, I need the recommendation on what they do with that. And then the last two we've already talked about.
What about the Boston, what's the recommendation on the Boston ones, is that comes a shell on that?
I don't know that there's any environmental, I don't really know anything about the properties. I believe they're a viable concern. I really haven't researched it because the 4 years I've been here, it comes in on the last day and pays it. So
Right.
I anticipate that will be the same case.
What's the last day? The 16th is
I think
today.
it's July 24th.
24th.
Oh, okay.
So I have sent the owners that were not on the list last year. So those 3 properties that we could have deeded and we didn't. I did not send letters to this year, but the other properties I sent letters to saying July 24th is the magic date, just so you're aware, time to plan about what you're going to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I haven't heard anything from anybody.
Okay.
So I guess we're doing a recommendation for the last 2 properties then.
Well, yeah, you need to, again, what the guy said yesterday on the webinar was, it's an individual decision on each property.
Okay.
So we'd
Right.
say, yes, we want to deed this, no, we don't. Yes, we
Right.
want to deed this, no, we don't.
So we vote on
Each one.
Yeah, separate motions.
So,
And I would recommend withholding a decision on the Bellin Way till you
Right.
get the inspection.
so do I hear a recommendation to deed property for Peter and Rose Volkmann? Volkmann.
I'll make a motion to deed the property.
And that's R1409
Parties
sorry,
and
part
allowance
eight.
are 14.9.
14.9.
Yep. Second?
Any more discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
And also entertain a motion for Herbert Whittier's property, R18, map 11B.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion on that property? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And should we just hold off on the other ones? Is that your?
I would say the only one we really need to hold off on is the Bellin Way. The other, the Boston Corporation and the Ahern properties, I don't believe there are any issues with them. It's just a matter of are they going to pay or not.
You don't need any motions from us on
I
starting
can't
the
deed
Bellin
them
Way
without your
process.
go-ahead.
No, but
She
the
needs
letter
a
that
motion
needs
for
to
the
go
rest of
out.
all of them, or the
Okay.
one, the
Right.
only one we don't do is the one we're going to inspect.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for Jared Ahern, B7, map 28.
Make the motion to deed the property.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And these are all these different ones, so we can't do these all together, huh?
You could do one that says
Boston Corporation.
Boston
Boston
Corporation.
Corporation, okay, so I entertain a motion to deed property to Boston Corporation, R0405, and then it goes 1 through 10. 1 through 10, 0 through 10, thank you, 0 through 10.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion on the Boston Corporation properties? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just clarification, this is obviously deeding only if they do not pay.
Correct.
And this is pending inspection.
All right, so we'll sign this for you.
Okay.
What else do you have for us?
There was a notification of the properties that were liened on Monday. This is the detailed list that I provide to the registry. What we have there is just a summary documentation. So I think that's sufficient for what we need. If you'd like more detail, I can provide all 16 pages of it. 15 pages.
recommendation on this one?
It's already done.
Okay,
Just
so
notifying you.
just notifying us. FYI on that?
Okay, and the last topic,
The last topic is online, setting up online tax payments. And I sent an email to Warren, and I said we would discuss it further with him if he's not going to be able to attend tonight. So it doesn't look like he's here, so it's just to get your opinion on whether you want us to go ahead and see if we can get started on this so that everyone can make their tax payments online, try to streamline the process.
a year ago, almost a year ago, we implemented the internet kiosk.
Yeah.
So people can go online and check their information. This is a further step building on that same capability so that people could also pay either by credit card or by an ACH transfer, electronic check if you will. The fees are borne by the individual, so if you say, hey, I want to pay my tax bill with a credit card, people don't normally pay the credit card fees. In this case, you do. You would pay the 2.93%. Excuse me, 2.95% fee.
That's what they charge us.
Yeah. Well,
No,
we don't pay
We
it.
would not be paying,
The
whoever's
taxpayer.
paying online
Right.
would absorb that cost.
They could
But
do.
normally a company would absorb that
Right,
cost.
yeah, and that's why people say, well, I pay with my credit card. Well, not so fast. The ACH transfer is 95 cents, so that's still a pretty good deal. You get it done, you know, almost immediately. The check is 46 cents.
Should have known.
Yeah, seems appropriate.
1928 Ford is calling you.
I guess I'm not sure where to start on this. I had talked to Warren about it in the past, and he wasn't particularly in favor of it. And then one day he came into my office and he said, can our people pay taxes online? And I said, no, the treasurer didn't want to do that. And he goes, really? That seems like a good idea. So I'm not quite sure where he stands now. When he had tendered his resignation, we thought, well, maybe this was a good time to press, and that's why we're here today. And then I understand he's withdrawn his resignation. So I would still like to press ahead. I think it's a good idea. I get a lot of people asking for this ability to do this.
We already have the software in the budget, correct?
Yes, I have the software in my budget. It's a one-time implementation cost. The other thing that I mentioned last year, and I talked to Avatar about it today, this would be the stepping stone to allow me to issue tax bills via email. So you get an email saying, here's your tax bill, you click on a link, do an ACH payment, it's done. So it would make it much easier for people. My objective is it's a faster process. I just push a button and the process runs. I don't have to come in here and do 1,500 envelopes. You know, even if we can get 10% of the people using the email process, it's a postage savings. Postage is one of my biggest budget items.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm heading. I have a lot of people who have second homes, they're traveling, they don't get their mail forwarded, whatever, I never got it. I'm having a terrible time with the US Postal System right now. Just lots of problems. So I see this as a good alternative.
How much do you think you could save on postage?
I don't know, I don't have my calculator. We send out 1,500 tax bills at 46 cents a piece. If I could save 10% of that.
Have you had any conversations with any other town clerks that have implemented the system and gotten feedback on how it's working for them?
Yes. Madison uses the same software, and they're kind of the forefront of implementing anything that Avatar comes up with. And I talked to her last year before I brought the proposal forward, and she loves it. And she said her taxpayers love it. She had to work out a process with her treasurer, what that individual preferred as to how you do the deposits and how you do the process. But I mean, there are options in how you can do that. And I think we just have to work through that with Warren and with Ella and Julie to find find out what's the most efficient way for everybody to make that work. The objective is to make it easier for the people who are trying to pay their taxes.
And if you pay with a debit card, you don't incur the 2.9% cost?
It would be just like an ACH transfer.
All the costs are
95
on the
cents.
individual that's paying.
Right.
And so it's, 90.
I would say a debit card would be the same as an ACH transfer.
Yeah.
Because it comes out of your checking account.
2.9%.
No.
No,
95
what
cents.
would it be? Okay,
I-
just
I
the
would
95
guess,
cents,
yeah,
okay.
'cause it's
Got
a
it.
debit card, just like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
there may
right.
be
writing a check.
area with the
Right.
debit card, but
Okay. And you said that you already have the software, so there's a
I
one-time...
have the software cost in my budget.
Oh,
It's only
okay.
$155.
All right. And what other costs will be associated with getting this up and running besides that?
We have to get a second bank account. And in talking to TD Bank last year, there wasn't a cost associated with a second banking account, to my knowledge. There are some processes that we would have to follow to get, the ACH payments would go into a separate banking account. And then we would have to implement a process to move that money from there into the town checking account. And everybody that had done this recommended you absolutely want to get a second checking account, because if one of those ACH transfers bounces, they freeze the account. I don't want them freezing the town account.
Correct.
So you're right, you end up only transferring those transfers that actually are good.
Okay, I follow that.
So I'm not aware at this point of any additional costs.
And so, why do we already have the software?
no, we don't.
No, we have the budget.
Oh, you just have it in the budget? Okay,
Yes.
got it, I'm sorry.
And we have the basic software to allow the kiosk to be.
Okay.
We just don't have the payment.
Kind of like the next step in the
Yeah.
first round.
So you're looking for us to
Computer
make a
literacy.
motion for you to start, to implement the process, to go ahead and purchase the
Well, we
software?
did say, I did email Warren to get his input as well, so I don't know if you can do a motion without his input.
I'd like to get Warren's input on it at some point.
So it's just
Sure.
kind of
This is gonna be a big change for
point to
him.
move forward.
Okay,
It's going to be a big change
Well,
for him.
I don't think it will be that big. I mean, it will require some extra steps, but
As far as an accounting side, it really shouldn't be that much more, maybe one or two extra entries, but it shouldn't be that extensive.
Well, what kind of time frame are we looking at?
we can do it immediately. I mean, they're standing by, the software's there, they just have to, have an implementation date. I'd like to get it would be wonderful if we could do it for the June bill.
That's what I'm thinking.
When I talked to them today, I asked them about the implementation of the email notifications, and they said they have some couple, 4 or 5 test towns that they're going to do the email notifications with for these June bills. So that's their trial program, and if everything goes well, then anybody else can implement it for December.
Yeah, I
So
think
it would
maybe
be
we should
nice
shoot
to
for
have-
December, at least that way we can see how that testing goes and
Oh, yeah, well, we couldn't do the electronic now.
Okay.
I think we're too late for that. But if we can get the online payments, get people starting to look at the website, starting to look and get used to that
Right.
process, and then say,
right.
if you want to sign up for emails, we need something back from them in writing so that we have authorization to
Right.
send them their bills via email.
So Warren told you you wouldn't be able to be at the meeting, but he didn't give you a sense on how he felt about it
I
today.
actually sent him an email and I said, if you can't be at the meeting, we would love your input next week. And then I didn't get a response because I think he didn't check his email today or something.
it was
Next
kind of late.
week? We're gonna, when he's in, you mean?
Yeah, the 4 of us could chat with Warren and
Okay,
see how he feels.
so you're not looking for action on it from us tonight?
No, I think we need to talk to Warren.
Yeah.
But perhaps at the next meeting. I have the contract with Avatar, and it's Invoice Cloud. So I can leave that with you for the next time, hopefully, or I can hang on to it and provide it
All right.
to Julie for the next meeting.
So we'll make sure this is on the agenda next week, and by then Warren will have had an opportunity to...
Voice his opinion.
Yeah, right.
Sounds good?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Appreciate you staying late and coming in.
Yeah, I know. That's why I moved away here. All right, next on the docket is Brian Shaw and Susan Chase, water drainage update matters. Susan, if you want to come up.
Sure.
I'm sorry to get this to you late. I guess there was some.
I ran right downtown and showed it to my son
Okay.
yesterday.
And what was the take on the draft here?
My attorney?
Yeah.
He said, that's fine.
This works fine for you?
Yeah. I'm still at my own
Are we getting this all?
avenues.
Excellent.
Wow.
Excellent.
What were the changes that were made to the draft document?
Not that many.
No? Super.
Did you
So.
read it?
Yep. Yep.
I haven't seen it. I
You haven't
haven't
seen
read
it?
No. Anybody want to point me to any changes that were made so I could
Just says it's going to be only good for 5 years.
Oh, okay. All right. So that's the key change here. There's a
Yep.
5-year sunset on the agreement.
Mhm.
And is this something that Brian and or Jill Shaw were?
So, we haven't done it, we haven't run it by him yet. That is not.
Okay.
I would forget to tell you that today.
So you haven't sent it to
I
Brian
haven't
yet?
sent it to Brian. Well, I just got it yesterday, so.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so,
So we
we're
need
moving forward.
Okay, so at
We need
this
to get
point,
it.
we just need signatures
No, we're gonna send it to Brian, let him
for approval of the draft.
approval of the draft, and hopefully we can do it.
Can you sign it out of
And
session
then
if
so
Brian
you
approves?
just email me or call me or something like that, let me know.
We will.
And get on, Brian, you've done a wonderful job at following through on this, John.
Well, thank you, I'm trying my
So I'm very
best.
pleased, and I'm sure you'll continue.
I will
John.
try.
Okay.
All right,
John,
excellent.
could you,
Jimmy.
could you get approval of it and have it signed out of session? If Brian approves it?
I'm good.
You wanna leave it?
We'll leave it
Okay.
for the next meeting.
Okay.
All right, just to make sure, because I wanted him to have time to look at it, and if she has any changes, if she, reconsiders or whatever.
How are you in contact with him? Phone, email?
I talked to him on
letters?
phone. I talked to him in person about, it's been 2 months ago now.
I think I remember you saying.
And I haven't talked to him by phone more than a couple of times, but again, that was a while ago. So this is, I've been waiting to get it from Peter and forward it on to Susan. Brian was my next step.
Next step.
Next step.
All right. Exciting.
Awesome, I'm excited. Police chief, come on down. He made it. Thanks for waiting. How are ya?
Good.
That looks like a big list there, but.
Well, that's all for We just wanted out to, I don't want to hang up from the elderly residents. It was turned out to be a missed aisle. We took repair for a bear that got inside the vehicle. We did a VIN verification for an automobile. About a month ago, we arrested a gentleman for driving on a suspended license. And he went to court and pled guilty. We re-arrested him again for driving on a suspended license. Well, this time we also charged him with reckless because he did about 80 down the road to try and get away from us and correct it, veer off to the side of the road.
Was he also charged with eluding apprehension?
No, we didn't. We just charged him with reckless.
Sounds like you could have.
Sounds like we could have, yeah. Driving at the suspected second and driving without giving proof except for our status on the parent suspended.
Well, not that you have to be a parent to be concerned, but every parent in this town who has kids riding bikes and walking on that road, hearing about somebody driving that speed is concerned.
Exactly. And one of the people that we located who saw this just a few minutes afterward, he said he saw about a 6-year-old riding a bike.
Right, that's a
So,
common area for people to be riding bikes.
absolutely, walking dogs, jogging,
Right.
very much so. We took a report of a residence that had a window that was pushed in. We looked at it, and it really, we felt it looked like the wind had did it over the winter time. So, we had 3 false burglar alarms. One was at a commercial restaurant. Got there and the door was ajar. This was about a little after 4 in the morning. And basically what it was is just poor paying attention to locking up at night. The door was shut all the way, the wind hit it. It had a deadbolt, they didn't use it. We had our last hazard mitigation meeting, that went very well. We have been speaking with some children that have grown up here since moved away, and their parents still live here. Their parents are very old, and they're concerned about their health and their mental health, and we've been talking with them about several issues. We were down in court twice with a particular person. Last September, a lady came across the double yellow right at the patrol car. We had to swerve and go off the road. And again, because we do have video cameras in our cruisers, this is all caught on tape. And the state police is prosecuting that case for us, so it took 2 days, so we were down there for 2 days. Yeah.
And that matter's not settled?
No, the judge is taking it under advisement, and meaning that sometime later this week, beginning next week, she'll make a decision and then mail the decision. Took another bear complaint at a local B&B. There's a gentleman that gone in for some surgery. He's requesting that we keep an eye on his place. Yet another bear complaint. This time was causing vehicles to stop on the road. People balk, and it's just a matter of going up there and keeping the traffic flowing and trying our best to get the bear to move on, whatever we can do. Took a report about a sick raccoon. Passed on a fishing game. We served a restraining order on a gentleman and his girlfriend here in town. We participated in the Special Olympic torch run last Friday. We do that every year.
Good deal.
Yeah, it's fun.
How far are you guys going?
We just went from Eagle Mountain Road up to the town line. We ran further, and we thought about running further again, because we certainly can do that. I mean, our best year we started down about the place with 4 people. So, we participated in the Bicycle Safety Day last Saturday at the Storyland with the development group sponsors.
How was it?
That's a very good event.
Yep.
We took a report of somebody called in cars pulling into a cul-de-sac, being there for 3 minutes and then leaving. So we're going to keep watching that. We had a sex offender re-register. Every 6 months he's required to check in and register. We had to check on welfare for a toddler who was missed a number of days from school. A gentleman stopped in to report that a person had thrown a Coke can out the window, and he gave us the license plate, and he actually followed people home. So he told us, where they left. I went around there and spoke to the gentleman who did it. Our town assessor stopped in and told me of a disturbing conversation he had with a gentleman that he was, I guess, discussing the property values with. I took a canine complaint from up in Tin Mine. And we got a call from a gentleman who was applying for a federal job, and he'd been arrested here back in 1980 for DWI, and I guess he needed a report. How I found it, I don't know. But, I did able to do it, so that's about it.
Anything for the chief?
Was an animal control officer handling that sick raccoon, or did that go right to Fish and Game? You mentioned that once
Well,
Fish and Game.
it's generally it's a fishing game, especially where there could be rabid. But we'll certainly utilize our animal control officer if a much quick response or the situation dictates.
Okay.
Very good.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Carl, listen, that guy on the revoke list twice,
Yeah.
he eluded police. You have 30 days to sign that complaint.
Well, if it's violation, we have 90 days.
Pardon?
We have 90 days.
Why are you not doing that? I mean, this guy sounds like he needs to be taught a lesson.
Yeah, it was second offense, and We're gonna check into having him listed as a habitual offender as well, if we can do that.
I mean, I think this guy should have the book thrown at him. I don't want to see some kid get killed before we do something.
Right.
It's about time we do everything.
Yeah.
Throw the book at him.
Thanks, chief.
Okay.
Thank you. Jay, road agent fire chief report, please.
My list is a little bit.
Yeah, nice.
I'll do some driveway permit stuff first. I got Sonny Kutcher here, just to go over his a little bit. But before I get into that, I got a couple of questions, what you guys think on a few things. Andy may want to clue in on some of this. Driveway permits, existing driveway. We have an existing driveway. Somebody comes to me or comes to the office, they're gonna need a permit, driveway permit to put a house on it.
Well, I wouldn't.
The way it's been handled is no. If there's an existing driveway and, you know, they don't need a driveway permit.
Right.
I got 2 or 3 questions.
Well, how long has the existing driveway been there? Is it like they put it in last night, or it's been there for 30 years? I guess is probably a more.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's probably exceptions to every rule we
Right.
talk about, but for the most part, anything's been there a while. What the definition of a while is, I guess.
Yeah, that's the
we'd have to
thing.
figure that
So
out.
there is a driveway permit that does exist?
May
Or
not, may not.
because it happened before we issued driveway permits?
They do come out.
Right. I think,
Second question, which kind of, everything, all these kind of glue together a little bit. How much, when I look at a driveway permit, how much of the driveway am I gonna look at? What we've mostly been doing ever since I've been here is, and even before I was here, I know, we've only done what they call like a curb cut, which is the first entrance, you know, the 10 feet.
First 10 feet.
First 10 feet in or something, that's all I've ever done. Some people, depends who you ask, you may get a different opinion as to what they think we should be doing for driveway permits.
so as the road agent, you're the one that signs off on driveway permits?
Well, I look at them, sign them, and then it goes to you guys.
And then it comes to us for approval. And you're basically doing a curb cut, is that what you said?
Curb cut, yeah,
Curb
just
cut.
a curb.
I've-
There's been some discussion, I know Burr had mentioned on a particular case, well, Sonny's case, for one, that I look at the entire driveway. That's not the way it's ever been,
Okay.
done. Depending on, like on the Shaw incidents, I bailed out of that one because I knew it was gonna be too technical and it was gonna get difficult, so I handed that off to engineers.
So Burr was the one that actually brought that to?
Yeah,
the board?
initially, like on Shaw's, for example, when that driveway permit first started, I actually went and met with the original contractor, looked at the driveway entrance curb cut, and he actually didn't do what he was supposed to do initially. And I knew it was gonna turn into what it turned into, and
Complicated
just
matter.
more technical
Yeah,
than I'm
okay.
gonna get involved
Yeah.
in.
So,
So there's just a couple of questions I gotta get answered at some point there.
so we're looking
It
at,
was mentioned that some people may say that maybe I should just be doing the curb cut, and when it gets, because some people put a driveway entrance in, and then they go about their excavation on their lot for a year or 2 or 3 or whatever, and then, so they don't need a building permit. So there was some discussion about, you know, maybe if I continue doing curb cuts, and then when it gets into, if somebody's gonna put a mile of road in, then am I gonna look at the driveway? Is the building inspector gonna look at the driveway? Who's gonna look at the driveway?
or is the engineer going to look at the
I
driveway?
mean, the way,
What was the purpose?
The way things seems like they're going is, things seems like it's getting closer and closer to site plan review and, engineers and.
What was the original purpose for the driveway permits? I mean, was it just to get emergency vehicles up there, or was it just located
I know in all
for
the
town
years,
mapping, or?
Ever since, I worked here right out of high school in '92, and I know Arthur always just looked at driveway entrances. I guess maybe if it was a specific driveway issue, he'd bring it up, but I don't believe he ever looked at complete driveways. I know the trend seems to be people are buying bigger lots farther out there, and they're getting longer driveways, more difficult driveways. In '08, the driveway permit totally changed. Before '08, there was hardly any regulations other than 15-inch color. In '08 is when the driveway permit drastically changed, just like the state of New Hampshire, where you've got to maintain the percentage of grade, and you've got to maintain 10 feet is going to go down before it goes up. So this is all, it's fairly new. The whole issues we've had the last few years on driveways is new.
Mm-hmm. So who has ever determined whether a driveway meets all that slope criteria and grade criteria in the
Since
past?
2008.
Really, no one?
There's been a couple of major issues since '08 anyway.
Uh-huh.
You had Selectmen have handled some of it, road agents handled some of it.
Okay.
Some of it's been dumped on Burr.
And
Not a consistent policy or
Right.
process.
And so when you went to the state, you had that whole huge bundle of paper here. And that was for
Well, that was for an alteration of terrain.
alteration of terrain.
Yeah.
That was the wording I was trying to grasp.
And I think I've looked at his, and his is, I think, pretty simple as it stands right now.
So the alteration of terrain permit or approval that you got from the state doesn't include all of that driveway slope
Well, I think
criteria.
it probably, the alteration of terrain covers the square footage, but it doesn't necessarily cover the driveway permit.
No, it doesn't cover the driveway.
Does it speak about slopes and some of the things that are in the driveway criteria that you're referring to, Jay?
Just the square footage, I think.
Just the square
I mean,
footage.
like when we did the alteration of terrain
Yeah.
for this place,
Right.
the alteration terrain permit covered the square footage for the driveway for the town garage.
And you're familiar with the criteria for a driveway, right? I mean, what he's talking about, the slope. I mean, I think there was a question at one time, and you went up there and looked about, there's a 15% grade limit.
Yeah, we were gonna get into that. I just wanted to ask those couple of questions before we
Okay.
got into his
Situation.
driveway.
Oh, those are strictly hypothetical, don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So as far as I'm concerned, I'm doing curb cuts.
Okay.
That's the way I've always done it.
All
That's
right.
the way I'm gonna do it unless things change.
All right.
I'm not doing the tire.
Hey, John,
Yes, sir.
you asked the question, why did we get involved in a driveway permit process? What happened is, the reason we did it, I believe, is because people, if we didn't have the driveway permit process, people could put 3 driveways in on one parcel of land.
Right.
So,
Well, they still can. There's nothing that says they can only limit it to one.
oh,
You can put a horseshoe driveway in if you want.
pardon?
You can put a horseshoe driveway in if you want.
Well, yeah, horseshoe.
mean, you could put 3 in if you-
You'll need a permit to do
Yeah.
it. I mean, I know when I cut mine in 12 years ago, I had to get a driveway before I could do anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't build on it right away,
But it was revised in 2008, so
Right.
whatever the
but
new
at the
standard,
same
yeah.
time, the reason for a permit process was so that you don't wind up with 100 driveways on a piece of property.
Andy, you have any input on that? or?
Well, I see Jay's dilemma here. And, but I think it's important that somebody's looking at, especially the curb cut and sight lines and access as the driveway, or anybody's driveway could be, impacting the flow of traffic on any given town road. So I think it's important that Jay continue, or somebody continue to look at these these driveway permit applications to make sure they're good sight lines. But I also think that, you know, it makes sense to have somebody take a look at this, and fortunately for the town, Jason, the right position. He's, you know, the road agent and the fire chief. I'm sure much to his dismay sometimes. But, you know, he's the one that's looking at this stuff.
It's true.
He's an excavator, he knows about grade, and he also knows about, you know, what his fire equipment can access. So, you know, I think that, you know, I guess my first blush at this is that, you know, just looking at the first 10 feet doesn't get a fire truck up to somebody's house 2.5 miles, you know, into the backcountry on their private driveway. You know.
It's true, but it's just you gotta remember, as these get more technical, I'm not an engineer, and we're not like the town of Conway where we have a public works director. You know, I'm working.
Right. You have a shovel in your hand more often than not.
Yeah.
So, you know, and maybe there needs to be a criteria set for, you know, that relieves Jay from having to look at, you know, an inordinately long driveway or some tough access locations. And maybe we give that, you know, the town should give that stuff to the town engineer.
Yeah, that's what I did on Shaw's, was I just, here you go, be on me, so.
Hello?
The driveway permit that we have shows diagrams of what's supposed to have, and then it also, at the back of it, has the site disturbance ordinance that they have to meet in order to go further than what Jay has said. So it's a twofold thing. They actually have to bring it back so Jay can approve what they're putting at the road, but they also have to comply with the site disturbance ordinance that's in the current zoning ordinance.
Which is pretty vague. All it says is you gotta have a site disturbance plan. It can be on your head, it can be in, you know, it can be pretty simple.
Oh, yeah,
It can be on
that
a piece of paper, which is another discussion.
Now, in my case, I've got the alteration
Yeah.
permit, which goes so far beyond.
Yeah. So site disturbance, he's good on that one.
It's good to hear.
You know. And the other thing, you know, just to answer your question, Rob, on grades, I mean, they do take into consideration the steepness of the grade, not necessarily the road, but the water runoff. And they, you know, they inspect and check the whole property out. It's mainly the drainage problems, drainage issues and everything else. But as far as meeting town requirements and things, you know, I've got stamped engineered drawings, so I don't think many people have ever had to do that.
Yeah,
Truly.
So, I mean, I've got a set of drawings here that I could put a town road up to the top of the hill, all stamped, you know, so I mean, and they had your regulations, these engineers had to, they took your regulations, town regulations, and they had to try to adhere to those as much as possible. I mean, there's a few places where I think they probably couldn't adhere to them, but, you know, well, you heard Bert the last time he was here, and I talked to Bert last year about this, that, you know, that there are some places where, you know, you can accept a little bit of deviation. So I think, like, if Jay wanted to talk to my engineers, I know that all the radiuses and everything were calculated to be able to show him that this fire equipment can get up that road. I mean, you know, like I said, you've got an engineer's stamp on here, so.
We can go on, Dave. Do you have his permit, driveway permits?
There's a couple here.
There's a couple there, okay.
So clearly, I mean, to me, I understand that, you know, the driveway that exists, and what we're really looking at is extending it out. And
Well, his driveway, I looked at it with him, and he says he's gonna make it to town spec, so I could give him the opportunity to make it go to town, you know, give him his driveway permit, and, I mean, I looked at it, since the woods fire we had up there, I was highly impressed with how far along it's come just in a year. I mean, it's a lot better than I thought it was gonna be, a lot steeper than it is. So I'm pretty impressed.
There's a reason it's a mile long. I took the flattest approach that I possibly could
take. I mean, I could have probably made it a half a mile long and probably almost met the town requirements because you've got a 15% plus amount of grade requirement. But, and if you want to take the time to look at the drawing, but like Jay said, there's a lot of areas here where it's only 6.
Yeah, and I'm pretty confident the one bad spot that Burr had mentioned in the email that I was involved in, I'm pretty confident he's gonna get it dispatched. In fact, I had talked with him, the only couple of concerns I had, which I had told him, was some extra width in some places and plenty of turnouts, which is our biggest concern for accessing a fire truck and ambulance. I mean, whether it's 10% or whether it's 16%, 18, 20% grade, when it's ice or black ice, you ain't gonna get up there whether it's 6% or whether it's the spec. You get the extra width, you get the extra turnouts, then you've got some room for error. You've got a place where if an ambulance gets halfway up it, at least they can get turned around and sit in a square and deal with it from there. So I'm pretty confident.
And so does your plan have some turnouts along the way and all?
Yeah, I have some, I mean, and I would defer to Jay, I mean, if he needed additional turnouts or longer turnouts in certain areas, I don't have a problem.
Well, it certainly doesn't make sense for somebody to build the house that you seem to be gearing up to build and build a driveway that's not going to handle drainage. I mean, from a common sense perspective, that certainly is understandable that there'd be some trust there that you're going to, do the right thing for your little home on top of the hill.
Yeah, well, that's really why, I mean, I had a design and it was steeper than I really wanted it. It met the 15%, but I said, if I can better my 15% for my own safety,
right.
I want to better it. So I took, that's why, again, I voted on my lawn, because I took every possible area that I could flatten the road. I went from one end to the other, and I probably didn't have to go that far, but I had a nice look. Jay came and looked at it. It's got some really easy grades.
Yeah, I was, compared to when I went up it for the fire, I was impressed.
So I don't know if either one of you guys have any questions, but I guess having heard all this in your report, I guess my biggest question is, so who is going to acknowledge when the driveway is complete that it's acceptable to the town? If you're only looking at it from a curb cut perspective, is there a town authority, or is this it for
I
us
think what it
having
does
a
is,
say?
if I ever noticed particular driveways in town with an issue or something that compared to the driveway permit, I'd bring it up, or if the building inspector had thought there was an issue when he did the building inspections or whatever, then they'd bring them up then. I mean, or if somebody complains, I guess, that, why this guy get to build a 20% driveway and force me to do it 18%,
Right.
Originally, see, this came to me a year and a half ago or so. I think Jerry might have mentioned something to me about a driveway permit up on Green Hill Road. And he said where it was, and I said, there's an existing driveway there. I said, don't need a permit. I mean, I don't know how far they're going with it or what they're doing or what it is. But his particular driveway was there before zoning. That thing's been there a long time. It's been there since before zoning ever was thought of in this town. So that's just an example of what we run into once in a while. So I told them a year and a half ago, don't need a permit. It's already there, the driveway. That's the way it's been handled in the past. And the other question I got, which has nothing to do with him.
Before you move on from that, I kind of agree with Andy said, even though there may be an existing driveway there, it may not be in the best spot. Like where it might be a line of sight issue and then.
Where do you draw the line between?
Well, I know, I'm just saying that they make.
So, I mean, I don't see where the town would have any responsibility for that.
Yeah.
If I didn't have a stamp on the drawing, that could be an issue, but.
Right.
No, the only thing that's been brought up in the past is if, which has happened in town, not, somebody built something and then they sell it, then all of a sudden the person who bought it comes back and says, it wasn't built to town spec, why'd you allow it, but buyer beware.
Yeah, I'll call this number right here.
Okay. Well, I don't think I have any more questions on this issue. I don't know where we're at right now, John and Bill.
Make a motion, I guess, so. Approve the building permit?
The driveway.
I'm sorry, driveway first, could be driveway permit.
Traditionally, the chair is the one that signed them in the past.
Yeah, there's just one
Yeah,
signature.
just one signature
on there.
spot,
Okay,
so.
You got the bill, the lot number, map and lot number on
Yeah,
there?
let's see, it's R13, lots 19 and 20, Green Hill Road, Couture Construction Corporation, Arthur Couture, owner.
Is that a motion? Second?
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Right?
Aye.
One thing done.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
No problem.
And I'll
Thank you
just
for the
take it.
engineering drawings, so we keep those on file.
Yeah, I can get you a copy.
Yeah, please, that way we can have a record of it.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck with the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a lot of money. All right.
What you got, I don't have. What you need, I don't have.
Oh, the two more? Okay. The same, not the same ones, though?
No.
Those are easy.
Okay.
No, some,
You've done the curb cut review on these and,
pretty much, that's all I had, pretty easy.
okay.
All right, this is map number B, 05, lot 32. Deer Run is the town name, and Brian Post is the owner, so take a motion to approve the driveway permit for Brian Post.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the last one is,
It's really easy.
Adam and Beth Pearl,
That's all downhill, so it's really
Switchback Road,
no issues whatsoever for us.
no culvert needed, pictures of downhill. It's a U-shaped one,
Horseshoes.
and horseshoe. That's a nice.
I didn't see that.
Letter, he was going to agree to all the site disturbance.
See that, I've actually done the same idea, some site disturbance plans the same way, where they're real simple.
Mm.
Just a basic page of what you're gonna try to accomplish to maintain site disturbance.
I like that, Bill.
Yeah, it's simple, easy,
Mm-hmm.
to the point.
Agreement. Yes, sir. Good. Anything else?
Did you make a motion?
I have not yet.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve Adam and Beth Crowell's driveway permit, map number B8, lot 8,
So moved.
Switchback Road.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, what else you got?
You wanna do emergency management / health officer?
I think that's coming up. You want to do that now?
That's what the old business.
We can do that now if he's here.
Yeah.
We can do that up. Everybody mind doing that up? It's just a,
That one is gonna be.
you're here and you're kind of more involved in this.
Yeah, it's in the,
12B, board
12B.
openings.
you just have the clip.
I know. Flip of the best.
It's at the back. You see here?
Yes. My recommendation is in the back row.
Recommendation. All right, so what we have here, I guess since Jay is here, this is, I guess, apropos. is the appointment of the health and deputy health officer for our town, Jackson.
And emergency management.
And emergency, yeah, that's right. And let's see what we got here. Don't have the form, so there is emergency.
But there is
Oh,
one.
there is one for the health.
One for the health. This is the health part, right? Okay, so we had just one applicant, correct? And it's Tom Gregg in the back. I work with Tom at the ambulance crew.
One thing I'll mention, and I might have mentioned it to some of you before, what we've found, at least on the fire side of things, is over the last few years, 5 years, whatever, it seems like an increase in demand of health officer items once in a while, once a year, once every couple of years, but it used to be once every 5 or 10 years. It's not a huge time thing for this town, but I think the time has definitely come to have somebody doing the positions that, especially the health officer side of it, that really has some know-how of what to do. And Tom fits the description about as good as we'd ever get. And I know Carl kind of feels the same way because the issues he's had.
So were you a health officer out in Rhode Island, Tom?
I work for the health department of the emergency medical services as the inspector, acting training officer,
Uh-huh. Okay.
and other things as well. Federal stuff.
Now, this carries a stipend of $500, I believe.
That the health officer,
The
something
health
like that.
officer, yeah.
And then the emergency management's 1,500 or something. And every 5 years, about the most demanding thing is the EOP, emergency operating plan, and the mitigation plan that we just finished up the last couple of years. So we're good for 5 years on any of that.
And obviously Tom's familiar with it on the Bartlett Jackson ambulance side too.
That requires a signature of all the selectmen and Tom in order to process that.
Okay. We have to have it notarized. Make a motion to hire Tom Gregg as the health inspector in the town of Jackson. Anybody entertain that?
I make a motion to hire.
Second.
Any more discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Welcome aboard.
Come on up, Tom, and sign your life away.
I've been trying to stay under the radar, Jake.
You shouldn't have moved.
So you're over on Dundee?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Over by the radio station,
Uh-huh. Oh, I know right where it is. Yeah.
across from that.
Used to go there every Halloween.
Yep. So here you go, one, Tom.
Is that,
I think you have to.
is that the plan to sign?
I think that's
Health officer signature?
right there, right?
Yeah.
She's going to get. So, make your signature as legible as possible.
Yeah. We all did.
Very good.
All right.
Excellent, Tom.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
So
Thanks, Al.
who is the health officer and emergency
Jim
management
Davis is the health
officers?
officer.
No,
B.
who's going to be his primary contact, I guess, is what I was.
His primary contact?
Yeah.
Usually me
And the health officer would be
or
us.
the
as
office staff.
Okay.
So just make
Great.
sure you guys get phone numbers or whatever.
When he brings this up.
Okay.
Sounds great.
We do already have a couple pieces of paper of information for you.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Take care.
You'll be tested.
Nice meeting you, Tom.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Yes, we are. Anything else there, boss?
Oh, yeah. Where do you want to start? Nah, easy stuff.
Thought we already started.
We've been ongoing, spring cleanup's done, sweeping's done.
Good.
Trucks are all stripped of plow equipment, ready for summer. All fire trucks have been serviced and pump tested, so that's all done. we're pretty much into summer stuff now. Ditching is in progress to prep for paving on Whitney's, Black Mountain, on Hampshire Ridge.
When are we gonna start paving?
Paving, well, I got my estimates back.
Are they coming?
And, well, basically, pipe was $81.95 a ton, everything included, which flagging, sweeping, everything. We don't have to do nothing, but be sure they do it right, I guess. And Carroll, who did our paving last year, was 86 bucks a ton. We're doing 4,000 tons, so it's like 15 grand difference. The only thing that, I guess business is business, and Sonny could tell you that, but it seems like this every year, you know. Last year Pike was high priced and Carroll come in and low bid them and took the job, and now this year it's flipped around the other way.
Competition.
It's kind of nice to have things steady, but I guess it doesn't work that way. But I guess $4 a ton times 4,000 tons, 15, 16 grand. So, I mean, I talked to Carol a bunch about it, and, you know, I said it is what it is. And,
The number's the
you know,
number.
they did great work, small time outfit, did as good or better work than Pike. Pike's done the last year Carol did the work, and the 3 years before that Pike did it. Pike does fine, fine work. So
Why does it fluctuate? Because the different
well, one of the
resources for their
reasons Pike hit it
materials?
hard this year is because of the extra tonnage, for one reason. Plus, from what I understand, Pike's getting some competition from some people south of here. So
They're looking for as much business.
yeah, it's just the way it goes.
Low bid's low bid.
Yep. What we did, it actually kind of helped out a little bit, but we're doing Thornhill, Shiminall, Thornhill, like we talked about, Carter Notch Road, Shiminall, that, Whitney's Hill, everything up to Whitney's Hill, Black Mountain Road, which in this price includes reclaiming the 900 feet of the hill.
I thought you were gonna do that.
Grinding up, and I was going back and forth on not reclaiming, because there's only 2 or 3 houses up beyond there, but that hill's so steep and it's miserable to plow.
It is.
That we're gonna just spend the 10 grand and reclaim it. What I did do though, we've had some discussion on which roads we're gonna get done over the last year or so. Jackson Highlands and North Hampshire Ridge really took a hard hit this winter, and I need to pave it all so that we can keep maintaining the road. So we kind of flip-flopped the tonnage from Tyrol to North Hampshire Ridge, Jackson Highlands. So instead of only doing 400 ton on Tyrol and on North Hampshire Ridge and doing 1,000 ton on Tyrol, we flipped it, so we're gonna do 850 on Jackson Highlands and Hampshire Ridge and be able to pave all that, and then go up on Tyrol with 600 ton and try to hit a couple of the worst spots. So it's quite a bit of work. It's 338,000 if my tonnage is right, if we hit that on the mark, if we don't run over, but we've got 360 something to spend, so we've got some space there for air and tonnage, which we're shimming, you know, one place you put this spot, other places this spot, other places it's dragging, so it's no exact science to it. So that's where we're at, so
That's good.
I guess we can award the contract to
Pike for Pike.
Pike. I don't know if you just want me to sign it, whether you guys want to sign it.
We didn't sign it last year.
I don't think so.
No. All right, it's just nothing major.
It's a good report.
All right, so that's done. The lamppost at Mirror Lake, I heard bits and pieces of it. If they said we did it, and I'd just say to tell them, get somebody to fix it and send us the bill, I guess.
Is that something our
I didn't get a chance to
insurance
look at it
covers,
today.
or is that something our insurance covers?
I don't think it's gonna be enough money to,
The deductible is,
yeah, deductible is like $1,000, isn't it? So yeah, I wouldn't, not worth the aggravation or the paperwork involved.
who's gonna give us an estimate on the cost?
I guess whoever the person was that called, like it's the homeowner where we had the chimney fire, or who it was, or if it's a association president or something.
The letters in that packet somewhere.
Sarah Duffy was the one that came to the meeting.
Yeah, I want to say that might have been the people that had the chimney fire that we went to. Just tell them to get whoever they want to fix it.
Do you want us to handle that?
Yes.
Do we need to know how much that's gonna
Sarah
cost?
Duffy,
Or we
yeah.
just
I mean, I guess if you,
blanket approve that?
yeah, have her get a price and get it to you. And,
Yeah.
Do you want, how many, do you want her to get bids or just get a price or?
I mean, when you
I'd
get,
get a couple,
Okay.
at least two.
I mean, it's probably something specialized. It's going to be pretty hard to get multiple quotes on a 4x4 granite post.
There's specific, yeah,
Without
going too
going
far.
to Portland and
Right.
Cong. I mean,
Is the lamp post in a legal position, is it not?
if I remember right, what I think it is, it's not on a town
I mean, if
road.
it's in the right of way, then they're responsible.
It's private road,
Cro-
private development. So it's like not right away. If I remember right, it's not in the right of way. But it was winter, it was tight, who's to say the guy plowing the driveway was in the dead center of the driveway and road, so it was a tight driveway, and just one of them deals, you gotta have a fire truck, I guess.
Mm-hmm,
But contact Sarah, get some bids, and then let you guys know.
yeah, yeah.
Here comes the fun one.
See what that's the last. huh?
Grader,
Grader.
this is my grader files.
Good.
Anybody wants to look through it?
No, I'm good. Keeps the low down.
Basically, we've looked at some stuff, a lot of stuff, everything from here to Texas. We actually lucked out and found two really good graders locally in Vermont through the local cat deal and the local John Deere deal. Both of them very, very, very nice machines. And they both have, the hardest part with the whole deal is the wing setup. I mean, you can find graders, you can find good graders all the way to Texas, but it's finding it with a $20,000 wing and the proper hydraulics to run the wing. The two that we found have really nice setups on them, all set, ready to go. Both the same age, they're both 08s. Basically, to make a long story short, the John Deere had like 3,000 hours on it, and the Cat had like 1,000, or it's 1,100 and 3,200, something like that. They're both right at the price we were talking about.
Under 175.
75 grand with trade, so it's like $200,000 machine, roughly. Without going through every single thing unless you want to, I went back and forth, made a list of positives and negatives of each because they're both sufficient and decent machines. What I've come up with, my recommendation is we basically move forward after the Cat for a bunch of reasons. Bill actually got a chance to look at the John Deere because he was going by that way to his daughters or something. So he actually got a chance to look at the John Deere. At least he kind of dumped on him a little bit on the financial side.